Hey Legend Crew, welcome back to another episode of Legend Ethics Share Dreams.
What's up, everyone?
This gentleman right over here, DY Sao, awesome dude. We're actually on the same management team, Asian Cinema Entertainment, with Scott Erickson and Eric Pan. And
Shout out to Ace.
Shout out to Ace. I mean, the team's doing well, so I mean, it's great watching all of us rise. It's watching the projects, the most updated footage of everyone. It's great stuff. And so there's a lot of talent out there, that's for sure, which is great to see from the Asian actors.
Yeah,
you know? It really is. But anyway, so we actually met on a project that Scott was putting together. That one kind of fell through, and we hadn't really seen each other since. Then you reached out for me to be a part of his feature film, by the way, that he helped finance. So he put a lot into it, and he put a lot of hard work into it, but it's called True American Violence. And coming to you soon, and it's an amazing project.
Soon is like 2 years because post-production is like 10 months.
It'll fly by like that. It'll be worth the wait. Let's put it that way.
Yes,
and we were rehearsing down here and putting a lot of time, and it was amazing watching this guy just really put in his heart and soul into this project, and he puts a lot into it. So I knew after going through those rehearsals that I really had to get him on here to share his story. So
thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Lyndon was a huge help, just getting me to rehearse those scenes, because I was a lot on the production side, which is just producing. That took like so much of my energy.
Yeah.
Imagine like the role was not easy.
No.
And so, but 50% of my resources at least went to producing, getting props, and everything that, you know, it's kind of like you got 10 pages of dialogue, but then you have to go I don't know, pick up a desk because you have to break that desk in a fight that night. Like, it's just so much stuff.
I mean, he was doing everything. I mean, he helped write the script with Josie Cantu, I believe his name is. Yeah, Josie Cantu.
He wrote the script.
I guess, yeah. Well, Josie wrote the script, but I know DY had some input on the story and where it was headed. And it's, as the title suggests, True American Violence. It's not an easy character, as he said. And so he was doing that and the production work behind the camera. And that was the hard part too, is like flipping that mind on and off, you know, to get ready for that role. So
yeah, well, in producing, it's about making things make sense, structure, organization. But as an actor, you know, it's not at all. It's about being more chaotic. I have a hard time standing still right now.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of film acting as opposed to like theater. I think I respect theater a lot, but I love the chaos in film.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, a lot of respect to theater actors. I mean, a lot of respect. A lot of the greatest actors of all time come from theater.
Oh yeah.
But personally, I will say this: I am afraid of it.
Yeah.
you do not have the leeway of messing up. You are live on stage. So that is one of my fears of doing that. So that's why I love film. You can edit it and.
I'll say something that maybe is not acceptable, but you don't have to be afraid of it because they don't expect as much, like the theater, the words write itself, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And when you perform, there's an excuse that, you know, like, oh, tonight I didn't feel it. So you have the freedom to like just say your lines, and if you feel that moment and the magic comes out, it comes out. If not, then maybe it makes it easier to come out because you're not pressuring yourself. But on film, every time you're rehearsing on film, it feels like this. You start a scene from the beginning and you get to go through your whole transition, and then you know to hit your mark when it's fully like the climax of the scene. But in real filming, they do line pickups where you're just like, now say the line. And that line is the climax of the scene, but it's like, oh, I don't feel nothing right now. But they're like, we don't care because the lighting is perfect and we're all ready to go. So stop being a diva and hit your line. And I'm like, okay, this is real.
Yeah.
So in a sense, theater people might have a really hard time. They should respect film acting.
Yeah. What's
we deserve respect, man.
It's tough. I mean, you gotta do it on demand. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But let's let the audience know who you are, where you're from, who you are, who's DY. Let's do that real fast.
DY Sao, I'm from Long Beach, California. Grew up in the projects because my families were refugees from Cambodia. The difference between refugees and immigrants is refugees are here fleeing political persecution. Immigrants are here for financial opportunity. It's way different. So the government put us in the projects, you know, it's cheap there. And I grew up with a lot of black people, and I think I was influenced by a lot of black culture, which in my opinion, I'm just gonna say it here, America owes a lot to the black culture. Like
Absolutely.
The way I do my martial arts and everything that I'm proud of, a lot of it is, I learned from my black friends, like just their swag and the way they move and the way you can't take anything from them. I'm not saying everyone, right? But that part of me, you can't, if I earned it and I spend so much time doing my martial arts, no one can take it from me. It's mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I got it through martial arts, but I got it through growing up on the streets too. You know what I mean?
Was martial arts something you started at a very young age, or was it something you picked up later? How did that arise?
Well, that's kind of a long story and one kind of emotional, but let me try to get through the story. I told my dad I wanted to do karate or martial arts because in school we were getting in fights since like I was 5 years old. And we were poor, extremely poor. My dad was, I think, just making donuts like all night. He got home in the morning. He took me to a karate school. I walked in and I saw all these pictures of guys like climbing walls with their bare hands. Now I think about it, what the fuck was going on at that school? But to me, the allure of like empowerment, you want a sort of power and a grasp over your life, like people can't hurt me. I wanted that.
Yeah.
But it was $50, we couldn't afford it. So I came back home crying, and then it really hurt me. But then my dad was like, okay, whenever they have classes, he would go and he would look at it. He was like, all right, he knows a little martial arts. So he would learn it and he would draw it. And he's like, here, son, don't cry. It's these moves. And it's basically just the basic block.
Like the basic
yeah, it's like basic blocks. I was like, okay, I can do this. But then after like a month, he was just too tired to go like look at what they did in the class. The last lesson was like spin kicks, which he was drawing, like a foot going around like this. And I was like, one day maybe when I'm a master, I could do that move,
Yeah.
But so from age 7 to age 13, I just learned those same moves every day, basic blocks, which I still do to now.
Yeah.
Because when I do it, that's the thing that the deprivation of having a martial arts school did for me, was that I did these moves and it connected to a certain spot, which is in life, you can't have what you want, Shit. But whatever you have, you gotta appreciate it. And so I appreciated these moves. I appreciated my dad spent the time to like, for this little kid. He could have been like, hey son,
Yeah.
that's okay, here's a toy, but it wasn't like that. He knew what it meant to me.
Yeah.
And so till this day when I do those moves, I feel connected. Like if the world's not going to give me this, then I'll have this.
Yeah.
And I think I translated that to film, right?
Yes, yeah.
If there's no role for me in Hollywood, fuck that. I'm gonna build my own little subculture.
Yeah.
Because I think Hollywood is great, but freedom is very important to me because in Cambodia, that's what they took from us during the Civil War. You know, my parents, when I was born, they were slaves in internment camp because it was Civil War. They enslaved them to work for free. I was born at the end of that war. So freedom is very important to me. And what do you lose when you have success in Hollywood, or you know, you lose your freedom.
Yeah.
So that didn't match the way I wanted to live life anyways.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the gift that I'm gonna start my own, because I don't want to be famous.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose my freedom. I just want to make films, you know? So this is perfect right now, you know, where my life is.
Well, I mean, it's very cool that the martial arts was able to transition into a skill that you can use for film, because it kind of brings, as you said, as we were talking about before this episode started, you have this artistic, creative imagination of wanting to create something.
Yeah.
And so it's very cool that you're able to do both. And
not only that, brother, not only that. When I hit 13, I was like, I've accepted that maybe martial arts is something I can never do in this lifetime. Because I don't have money, I don't have privilege, you know? Still poor as hell, living in the ghetto. But then I watched Chinese movies. And the first movie I watched was Iron Monkey. And I watched it and I was like, this is some new shit. I'ma learn every move I see in this movie. And then it went on to Drunken Master 2, Fong Sayuk. I know choreography, I know the shots, everything. So in essence, I learned martial arts, and given, I know the difference between that martial arts and the martial arts you fight on the street, because I was fighting on the street already without martial arts. Yeah. It was just pure fighting, no martial arts. Like, you grow up in the hood, everyone's fighting. So, what was cool was when I entered, I was like, what is this martial arts? I started taking Wing Chun and stuff, but what is this martial arts in the film? It was Wushu, which is made for film. And right when I entered Wushu, it's weird, I already understood the whole feeling of Wushu. It's just my body couldn't do it yet, because I did it, you know, I understood, that's why I learned it from film. And they knew Wushu and they knew presentation. They knew that when you raise the top of your head and you stand up straight, your morale and your martial spirit comes out. And people wonder why, like, oh, why would you do these poses? I entered Wushu. 9 months later, my master, he's like, you have to compete intermediate. Intermediate is 2 to 4 years. I'm only 9 months in. And I destroyed the competition. Because I owed it. First, I owed it to watching film. You know, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Donnie Yen.
Greats.
The greats. To me, there were a lot, but I don't call them my heroes. You know, a lot of people ask that. I only reserve heroes for specific 2 people in my life. Anyways, in 2 years, 9 months, I made the U.S. national team for Wushu, which is to be in advance, you have to train for 4 years. And I already made the U.S. national team. I was older, so, you know, I didn't have a lot of time. I was already 21 when I started Wushu. Most people start when they're really young, because you need to be very flexible. But my master, Chris Ho in Southern California Wushu Academy, oh my God. he had no mercy on me. Because I was old and I played basketball all my life, I was stiff. And so he was like, well, you get to do this other form that does no jumping and it's not very interesting if you can't get the splits, and you have 1 month. I'm like, 1 month? And so there's this little girl, she's like 35 pounds, she's standing on me for 5 minutes. I get up, I start kicking. I do that until my splits go all the way down. And so, like, I think in Asian culture, there's a lot of yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of fire as men. Like, you have a lot of fire. Like, that's the yang energy. The yin energy is your ability to let it melt away. Now, if you have both, you're dangerous. If you have one, I think it's just God gave you one, you know, and you have to develop the other.
Yeah.
And that's the same for acting. And so stretching was like the hardest thing for me. For a lot of people who it came easy to, when they get older, they lost their flexibility, they lost their splits. Me, I'm never losing that shit.
Yeah.
Because I've cried in front of all these little kids. Like I've literally like cried, like, you know, because of stretching.
Yeah.
Like you can't make me run or do anything hard enough to cry or beat me up. It's like fine, but to stretch,
Yeah.
because you're constantly questioning, like, you know, just like in acting. Am I enough? Am I strong enough?
Yeah.
Do I have to keep doing this? And so for me, I'm never letting it go, you know?
Yeah.
So stretching has taught me everything. If people, stretching is the thing. If you're not flexible and you get flexible, it will change, it will stretch your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like meditating, anything, right?
Yeah.
I went to World Games in Macau 2003, represented America in the Wushu World Games. Got 6th place. I think I got lucky. 6th place, like, there's no way. There's people training all their life. And
Yeah.
I just got lucky, dude. I got lucky. Some people messed up.
Yeah.
Because I don't even, you know, in the warm-up floor, because when you're warming up, you see like all the best, and they're professionals. Like, they get paid to do it. We pay to do wushu. So, you know, to me, all the professionals were so great, because they walk, talk, eat it, and
Sleep it.
they just, it's in their blood, right?
Yeah.
It feels like. And so, again, I was in that mentality, like, I'm never gonna be that. So I don't deserve to show my martial arts, you know? It's like, it's good. You know, I built an ego, of course, like, hey, I'm good. But I know where I stand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to a different competition, 2007, it's called K-Star, Kung Fu Star, Kung Fu Zhixing in Chinese. And it's a Chinese competition, global competition. Recruiting like three or four from each country, certain countries, not every country, but there's 36 competitors. 6 grew up in Shaolin Temple, and so I'm like, oh shit, this is the shit. Let me just go have fun. But I learned something. They might have grew up in Shaolin. They might be able to do these forms better than me. But they have no idea about film fighting. Get me motivated, not angry. When you get me motivated, I'm gonna make it turn into something else. I'm gonna become, maybe it's philosophical, but my enthusiasm makes me closer to who I'm meant to be. Enthusiasm, I don't know if this is true, but someone told me it's true, so I'm gonna believe it. I don't wanna look it up. It means one with God, and it means you don't fear, and you're not gonna let anybody like suppress you. You know, you just feel free to just be you with your impulses being weird or whatever. Like it doesn't fucking matter at this point, because if someone's trying to put me down, I'm gonna, I'm gonna accept it, and I'm gonna be the best version of myself. I think that's what martial arts, did for me. But coming back from China, it was stuck in my head. Oh shit. Not only do I have something that I like about myself, but I think this is what Bruce Lee and a lot of people gave to the world. And I might not give the same gift, but it is from me, and I represent something different from them, you know? For one, I'm Cambodian. I'm half Chinese, but we have a lot of Chinese representatives. We don't have a lot of Cambodian representatives. So maybe one day I can represent or not. That's up to God.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna do my part. So in a sense, it's very like liberating to me to be like, I'm here to do my part and enjoy the journey. And whoever I touch, you know, whoever's helped me or I help, like, we're part of this together, a part of the human race, one tribe. And it's just gonna be a fun ride, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a bachelor's in psychology, so I'm really big on like placebo. Placebo is like in every test, you know what placebo is?
Mm-hmm.
Placebo is like you take a pill that does nothing, but because you believe it does something.
Yeah.
Placebo is more powerful than anything. Like, so what I say is give me the placebo. You know, whatever enriches my life, I'm going to, I mean, if all these perspectives are dogs, right? You heard that metaphor. Feed the dog that you want, you know, him to keep living.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna feed the dog that has faith. Feed the dog that it's fun. But I'm not feeding the dog that I want fame or like, I almost realize, not almost, but I'm gonna accept beforehand that I'm not gonna make it in this Hollywood business. It's liberating to be like, at the end of life, I've never done any big Hollywood films. So if I already know that, what would I do? Any little YouTube short that I can give the world, that's just extra. You know? Any feature film I can do with my own power, you know, it's just, that's just extra. Because I already accepted that at the end, I'm not gonna be no big star making big money. And I'm okay with that. I think you have to be okay with that. Because it's a really big possibility, you know, like, that actors don't make it.
Yeah.
And it's not because of lack of talent.
Yeah.
Because the business, the business is, I mean, here,
Can be ruthless.
you're very skillful and you're constantly acquiring skill in a field built on other things like notoriety, which I'm not saying, oh, you're building it has to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of notoriety comes from skill, you know. But notoriety is still supreme, popularity is still supreme, which I'm okay with.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way of the world at this point.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's certainly an obstacle right now of my own. I mean,
Yeah.
that's certainly an obstacle of every actor that
Yeah.
we need to work on. But
And this guy is fucking talented. Like, when I brought him in, I was copying his physicality, his moves, and anytime I need to talk about a scene in a film.
Well, that was the fun part, was when you were having me read lines with you, we
Yeah.
would swap roles.
Yeah, that's
and
shit.
we would both play the same role and play off each other, and it really helps.
Yeah.
It really helps because I mean, the biggest thing with acting is empathy. Is being able to see, because in everyone's story, there's always going to be a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you're a good guy in your own story, you're a bad guy in someone else's. But the point is like, even if you are the bad guy in the film or whatever, you don't see yourself as the bad guy. What you're doing, you feel is just. You feel is like validated.
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
I mean, it's being able to play both roles. That was fun. That was a very.
Yeah.
It's a test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoping one day I can help you on, you know,
Absolutely.
your scenes and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, next time the big audition, we gotta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this guy, like, as you can tell, does a lot of martial arts, and so this guy, I mean, I got to get this guy training with me. He's always posting his training videos and stuff like that, and it's amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff. I mean, there's a physicality to this guy that I mean, even if it's, I can't even say, I'm having a hard time saying this. Even if it's not like a violent move, you can still see the passion in what you're doing.
Yeah,
Which is amazing that you can translate that.
Yeah. Well, something that started off as a curse, which my curse was, I had to learn Cambodian, the Cambodian language called Khmer. I had to learn that while going to school, learning English, and so too much was thrown at me linguistically that I couldn't like speak very well when I was young. I didn't speak English until I was like 9 years old, you know?
Wow.
And my parents didn't speak a lot to me. So in a sense, my body was my language. And growing up in the hood and my parents talking about the Civil War and death all the time, their trauma through the war transferred to me, which traumatized me. And so I had a lot of energy to kind of like put out. And so I needed martial arts. And when you need something, you know, it's kind of like an obsession, then you're gonna get good at it, you know?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times in acting, it's therapy, right?
It is.
I don't know if you'll realize, but people go into acting because it's therapy.
It's cathartic. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But let's go into what's been a big obstacle of yours currently. Because I know you just post-production for True American Violence. And you're working on another project coming up, which we cannot disclose, but it is a huge project. So, I mean, huge congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
For that very...
Well, I can't say what project, but the company is Marvel. And
I mean, so...
They hired me to train an actor. And next, I'm trying to really pick out what I could say. I'm flying out to do...
Well, he's flying out to another country, another continent. Let's put it that way. But I mean, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. So what has been an obstacle getting to this point?
A question I'm thinking about right now is what I've been thinking about recently is, am I an actor or a martial artist? Now, obviously, I'm both.
Yeah.
And I've always put acting before martial arts because acting belongs to film, and martial art doesn't always belong to film. But Marvel changed my mind. I think I'm a martial artist because as a person, I'm a martial artist, you know. And I think my love is for martial arts. But in Chinese, kung fu just means hard work. You know, so acting is hard work. So it's like what I do is kung fu, it's martial arts. It's bringing the structure to the chaos, so you're not just all over the place and people have to control you, because you know you can control yourself. You can hit your marks. You can hit your eye line. You know. So I think Marvel helped me understand that I'm a martial artist at heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's important, the words that you choose to describe yourself, because, you know, words give structure to your thoughts.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
No, but I mean, that's just something that I wanted to point out real fast was during our rehearsals, I mean, acting is delving deeper and deeper and breaking down the mental barriers and the walls that you put up for self-protection, self-preservation, really.
Yeah.
And as he was doing that, what I really noticed is because some people go into acting thinking that if I can be emotional, if I'm just screaming my face off, if I'm just crying all the time, I'm a great actor. No, I mean, it's not. It's not enough just to be emotional. It's like, that's like emotional vomiting. And is it pleasurable to watch vomiting? No, it's never pleasurable. The point is to be a winner, to be a fighter, to fight through your scene, despite your obstacles. Yeah. And so that's one thing I really noticed about DY, and it translates to, I mean, how he's lived his life, but it's that warrior mentality. And it's very easy to have that tamed in today's society, very easy. But that is something that I noticed during our rehearsals, and that's again why I wanted him to be on the shows, because I mean,
I actually have the opposite problem. I'm so chaotic as a person.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to add structure. Most people, they're too structured that they can't be chaotic. But
that's what, like I said, it's there.
Yeah,
you can sense it.
I have a lot to learn in acting. It's like, I feel like it's my first day every time I enter a scene that has a lot of pressure. I'm just like, damn. But I imagine that nervousness is because you care, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, when you care about something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's not like I care about it. Like in the beginning, I cared about it because it was attached to my self-worth. But now it's not that. I think it transitioned to I care about it because a lot of people depend on my performance. Like a lot of actors, you know, for my film True American Violence, that I shot in the summer, they're on deferred pay. A lot of people on deferred pay, meaning the film has to be good for it to be sold, for these people to get paid, you know?
Yeah.
And I just feel like I owe people that help me, and I need to bring it. I need to represent.
That kind of goes into the next question. I mean, what's kept you motivated? And so, because I know during our rehearsals, we're talking a lot about your baby boys, because I mean, you have a couple of young boys that, I mean, look up to you. I mean, they really do.
Damn.
So I mean, what's kept you motivated?
That's a really tough question, man. I got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. I know a friend who, his father's super talented in music, but his father never made it. And so I think it hurts him to try harder. Because if there's something in psychology, when you give it your all and you have no excuse why you didn't make it, this is all of me. And when you don't make it, you realize it's because you're not enough. So that people don't give it their all, they need an excuse to fail. So that story, it made me really, like what happens to me is not just to me, you know, it's to my boys, the way they approach life. And if I feel like if I don't make courageous decisions, they'll be afraid to make courageous decisions. And I think the most courageous is underappreciated. You know? 100%. Yeah, because fear, people say, I'm fearless. You know? A lot of rappers say they don't fear anything, but dude, fear is your friend.
No, absolutely. Because you can't be fearless without having fear. It's by facing those fears that you become fearless.
Right.
So it's that cycle of what came first, the chicken or the egg. You have to have both.
Right. This is the only way you develop courage.
Yeah.
Is to first be afraid. And so embrace that fear. It's two sides of the same coin. I just want my kids to have the courage to take chances. Because that's the beauty in life. That you don't know what's gonna happen. If you know what's gonna happen, for me, that's boring.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because my parents grew up with all these adventures of war, right? Like those adventures is like, I don't want to get into their stories, but fucking adventures.
Yeah.
At least one story. They came to get a bunch of men from this from my dad's internment camp, because they're like, there's a lot of supplies over here because all these people abandoned the village, so there's food and stuff. They went there and they're like, oh shit, they're gonna kill us. They're gonna kill all of us. And so there was no supplies, and they just sat in that house with like, I don't know, 10 other people for like 7 days. Meanwhile, my mom and my grandparents and stuff, pretty sure he's dead if he's gone for 7 days, right? And then one day they walked in, they're like, oh, you can go back. And they were like, oh my God, we don't need fucking supplies. They didn't bury us alive, you know what I mean? And so those ideas, for one, it made me creeped out, because the way he told it, he went through it again, right? And so it traumatized me, but it also gave me perspective about, like, it's up to us. Whether we win or we lose or whatever happens, it's up to us.
Yeah.
But I'm too much on that spectrum, to be honest, because I'm very spiritual. I needed my wife, who's an engineer, to be like, come on now. There is a reality to success and no success. And so I'm trying to build that right now. I'm trying to read more books and, you know, just be more structured.
As long as there's balance.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as there's balance.
I'm trying to get the yin to the yang,
it's
man.
It's the same thing on film. I mean, that was my hardest thing, is because as you know, I have a lot of this internal kind of that can just go.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that, in my very first intro class in my acting studio, was learning to sit still. Because a lot of the times the footage is right here. Sometimes you don't even have the hairline. Sometimes it is so zoomed in, it is right here. And that is why, like, all this passion, all this energy that I had, my teacher said, you got to translate that into this triangle, connect the eyes to the mouth. This is everything. This is your window of movement. You go like this and that's it. And so that's my hardest thing, is because sometimes it just feels like it's so overpowering. So learn to control that right.
Do you have any tips on, like, structuring? Like, do you meditate or something to hit your mark? Look over here. Right at that moment, the climax hits. Like, what?
It's a weird thing. I mean, I guess there were times in my life where I was made to feel insufficient, not good enough. And it was through my childhood, which is the basis in which we live our lives afterwards. I mean, it's a huge effect on the way we live our lives. And so before, when I wasn't good enough, when I was told repeatedly that I was not good enough, I would turn submissive. I would turn it off. I would go in. Then once I reached my teens, I was told I wasn't good enough. I would just shut down. Stoic, non-emotional, but at least I wasn't submissive. But that was the next step, was just stoic, non-emotional, like, this isn't bothering me. The next step was taking it. So the first initially was victimizing. Second was a step up. And then finally it got to the point where you tell me I'm not good enough, do not get in my way. Do not get in my way. You tell me I'm not good enough, I will, you know?
And like you build like a monster to come out.
Exactly. And so that's a huge step, is so many people, any rejection of any kind, if you take it and turn submissive, well, that's you're victimizing yourself. You're not going to get any better. You have to get to the point where it pisses you off. And so sometimes, I mean, yes, I know it's all positive vibes, but sometimes I will tell myself that I'm not good enough. Because I know what it does to me. It's not self-deprecating like some people think.
You found your button.
Exactly. It's my button that pisses me off to the point where it's not. It raises the stakes and it raises the levels. So some people see it as self-deprecating, but that's only because of their limitations and fears of that's what it will do to them. I know what it does to me, and it sets me off, and it lights a fire under there and just skyrockets that. So I mean that's I guess that's my tip for that. And so then all that energy that's coming up and bubbling, it's like a Coke bottle.
So my question is how to take all that chaos when you hit your button and package it up nicely for the audience, so it's not like you say vomiting.
Well, you saw my two different demo reels that I showed you before we started this. That personally, I mean, I like the aggression, but I do not like that. Almost felt a little bit like emotional vomiting. So that's the point of learning that self-control. It's practice and practice and practice.
What I saw was magic, but I'll tell you the snippet that I'm like, this is the nicely packaged.
Yeah, exactly.
Vomiting. I
mean, there's parts.
So you need
it's practice.
I think we can't always depend on it.
We can't.
But that's where the great director says, you know, now just do this.
That's the magic of film.
Right. But we don't always get a director that does that for us. I'm reading a book right now called The Drama Within that just explained what you said. Like, from childhood, we have all this fuel, right? And that's what we should see it as, like that button is the fuel. Is anytime you're traumatized, it's like a loop that is not closed. And your whole life, you're looking from other people, you're saying this to other people. I need you to do this so I can close my loop. But even if people do that, you can't close your loop. And so all these open loops, you want to tie loose ends to and store it nicely? No, it's this ever lasting hunger to act upon closing the loop.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
in acting, we weaponize it.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what I love about acting. It
Yeah.
helped me use what I did not know what to do with before,
Yep.
and use it in a beneficial way.
Yeah.
And
your
it's-
gift, your curse becomes your gift.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's yeah. We'll just leave it at that. I was gonna say something else, but we'll just leave it at that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to stumble your
No,
words.
no. I just don't want to piss anyone off. So we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, so I mean, what is something that you wish you can tell young DY, like just started?
Oh
working on
fuck! I would tell him, don't be afraid to invest money into yourself. You like save money and constantly make your own shorts, your own films. Like, don't be afraid to do that. Because I always didn't have a lot of money, but still you find a way.
this. Yeah.
Because now that I'm 40, I'm finally doing it, and it's like, this is how I should have been doing it the whole time. But you know, it all happens for a reason.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
100%. I mean, it's essentially what he's saying is being proactive in what you want to happen, what you want to achieve. It's not going to fall in your lap.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I mean, watching him do that. I mean, it's just within the last year. I mean, you weren't doing Marvel stuff a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were rehearsing this.
Yeah.
And look. I mean, it's amazing. It really is amazing to watch you do this.
Yeah, and
I love it.
If you're wondering why, it's because when I did True American Violence, I connected with some friends who really like looked out. You know, they saw me as looking out for them. And now they're looking out for me, and now we're like, you know,
Yeah.
like a close brotherhood that is built on martial arts, but we all want to do great things in film.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, that's freaking awesome. So what is a tip that you can give the viewers in terms of chasing their dreams?
oh fuck, I don't think I know that much. I just know how I work, and my wife always tells me, don't assume other people are like you. So I think my first tip is, if you're like me, which is chaotic, you need art in your life so that you don't use that chaos the wrong way. Because art makes you play like a child again, you know? It's important to continue to play like a child. Where am I going? Is follow what makes you happy, but just know that you might not make it. But if it makes you happy, who gives a fuck, right? You've lived your life better than, you know, 99.9% of people who ever existed by, you know, doing this thing that makes you happy.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. And if you're not like me, and if you're more like structured and you can't connect to kind of like your sensitive spot because you don't feel secure enough, a lot of people are like that, you know, people that work 9 to 5s. You're not free from the consequences of what you do to yourself. Even when I worked for Marvel, I'm just a tool for someone to use. Now, if I let myself be used as the tool, then I become a tool. I'm not free from the consequences of what I do to myself. So you can only do it for so much before you reclaim who you are. Like, for real, we're not free from it.
Absolutely. No, 100%.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I mean, our daily actions, even the smallest note, I mean, this smallest inclination of doing this action or that,
Yeah.
it says a lot about who we are and
Yeah.
where we're headed.
Yep.
It really does. I really do believe that.
And the test for that, which I always test myself sometimes in that way. Because if you give, then you're a giver, you know? Like, if you got $20, sneak it into your friend's wallet. Like, think about what that does to you as a person. It just, you know, especially if your friend doesn't have a lot of money, you know what I mean? Like, it does a lot to you as a person, way more than $20. And
Yeah.
now you're giving it to your friend who can enjoy it. Like, Like, that's how you know. Just by that thought alone, you know that changes you.
Yeah.
And everything's subconscious. You can't be like, okay, where's my reward, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the easy part, is to get stuck in, I did something.
Yes.
Where's my validation? Where's my reward for doing it?
Right.
I mean, it's going that next step of not seeking that reward, not seeking that validation.
Yeah.
Because then that shows who you really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But shit, I'm just a student. Like, I'm like a beginner student in this life thing. I know a few things about filmmaking, but never lose that. If you want to pursue what you love, I call it Christmas morning. When you wake up Christmas morning, you don't know what's gonna happen. And this is coming from a person who never got Christmas gifts, but still, I felt the magic of Christmas, which I don't know what's gonna happen today. And for some reason, wushu, in martial arts, wushu is what does that for me. And it's in a physicality. When wushu does stuff like this, you know, like the sense of there's emptiness, but there's enthusiasm to find out what that emptiness is. Like, Christmas morning is this feeling of finding out. The world is gonna do a number on you, and that's gonna leave.
Yeah.
If you're 20 and that's not snuffed out yet, you're lucky. If you're 30 and that's not snuffed out, if you're 50 and that's not snuffed out, oh my God, you are a diamond in the rough. But do whatever it fucking takes to like preserve Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it a lot. I mean, it's believing. It's believing.
Yeah. And if I said this as a 20-year-old, you guys should be like, yeah, whatever. But I'm 40. I got 2 kids. I made this feature film. It was depressing. I'm fatigued right now. But the only thing keeps you going is Christmas morning. You don't know what's in this emptiness, and you're enthusiastic to find out. You're not scared.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
I think I'm reiterating because I need to convince myself to keep going.
Well, yeah.
Because it takes your life energy and it just drains you. And how do you rebuild it? You find that thing that makes you happy to rebuild it. And for me, it's martial arts, it's enthusiasm, friendship. And I have the other side, the darkness that says, wouldn't it be nice that you started powerless, couldn't afford martial arts, and at the end you were still powerless? I don't want that narrative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good. I still have things that's very personal to me that keeps me going too. But use both fuels.
You have to.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome, because I mean, you have the light and the dark.
Yeah.
There's no you without a shadow. You know. So I like that.
That's good.
I like that. That's very cool. Well, thank you very much, DY, for.
I'm sorry if I blabbered too much, man.
No. It's a great story, and that's why, like I said, I had to do an episode with him. It's an amazing story. So thank you, DY.
Yeah,
very much
you.
for being on this episode of Legend Ethics Shared Dreams. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for including me in your project and getting to know you. I mean, during our rehearsals, you really get to know somebody. So thank you very much for letting me be a part of that with you and trusting me to be a part of that with you. I mean, it's an amazing experience.
Cool, man. I see
to
it
have done that.
like just the beginning of our relationship, even though we've known each other for a while.
Yeah.
You know, many more things to come.
Absolutely.
Legend Ethics.
Legend Ethics, baby. But yeah, I mean, be sure to check out your DY's Instagram. I mean, these martial arts. I mean, if you're interested in martial arts, reach out to him. I mean, he has a crew that he works out with pretty much daily, and they're doing some awesome stuff.
Used to be daily, but now I got 2 kids. So that's the thing. I'm trying to keep up with these youngsters who's like...
They're probably harder to keep up with.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the youngsters of, you know, they're like world famous martial artists.
Okay,
you know,
yeah,
Brian Lee, Annie Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's amazing stuff. So I'll be posting his Instagram. Be sure to check it out. Check out his martial arts videos. I'll be posting mine as well. Doing some different acting stuff. So be sure to stay tuned. And be sure to check out legendethics.com. You got these different tees,
Yes,
different styles.
sir.
And I'm very proud to see him wearing the Legend Ethics Heart of Gold. Certainly a legend over here.
My honor.
Certainly a legend. I'm very proud to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, be sure to like and subscribe to hear from more weekly guest stars such as DY over here, sharing their awesome stories and, I mean, very inspiring moments. So, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. And, yeah, let's build the Legend Crew, guys. Let's keep it going. Later.